So that
then on the way home, we had to drop Chinese troops off in Shanghai.
really, so you guys had on the trip back from India then at some point when you were coming home after the war. So you had some Chinese troops on the boat with you, and they had to be dropped off at Shanghai. Is that
Shanghai and Singapore.
wow? So did you talk to them much or anything, or?
Well, in Shanghai, they were all out there trading over the side. I mean, they had a last resort to trade with the Americans. You give them cigarettes, 3 cents a pack. I sold all them. I never smoked over there. I sold my cigarettes on the black market. You were allowed how many? 4 a week, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I thought you could get, I think $3 it was for those 4 cigarettes.
Wow.
And I thought, God, I can't afford to smoke them for that.
So did you, were you off the boat in Shanghai or Singapore or?
No.
No, so it's still on the boat.
Oh,
They didn't let you off. Yeah.
40 days going over and 28 days coming home.
Hmm.
When I got to India, I had 40 letters from Mrs. Young.
Wow. So she'd written every day, huh?
That was a sad story. She married, her first husband ran off.
Hmm.
That was Mrs. Young's story. Her father owned the house, and he had Alzheimer's, and he had a nice office in his house, and I used to babysit him while she went to bridge club or something. But Mr. Young is the one that owned that farm. And Mr. Sink, that was her father. And he owned the grain elevator, he owned the canning factory, and he owned a woodcraft factory that made baseball bats and axe handles and all that.
Right.
And when I went to work for the airlines in 1948, they were cleaning up that woodcraft factory. And I said, load the trunk of my car and I'll sell those. And I did. I sold them to a hardware store over here on East Washington.
Oh, really?
And got rid of them. I don't know what I got for them, but anyway, it was better than kicking the pants. Because they were cleaning them out. Because now they turned that factory into a hemp mill to make rope.
Hmm.
During the war.
Right.
I didn't know it was marijuana. I didn't know it was marijuana.
Oh, the hemp, yeah.
But I don't know if it's the same or not, but it's about 12 foot tall. And I tell you, that was the thing to raise on the farm. It smothered out all the weeds. You never had a weed the next year.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. Couldn't grow anything else unless you built the soil back up because it really depleted the soil.
Oh, oh. So now in India, you were in the military police for a while there, right?
After the war, this officer came down our tent. We're waiting for a ship to come home, but they're shipping all the black people first.
And was there a reason for that, or was there a reason for that?
Well, they were causing all the problems.
Oh,
They thought that they had these Indian girls convinced they were night fighters.
oh.
Anyway, we had to wait for them to ship those guys home. And then they shipped us.
So how long was that time period?
Huh?
How long was that time period then? Just like
Probably 6 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I think about that many times. These black men say, you know, we couldn't get a job. They had, if they were competing with any of us for a job, they had 6 weeks uptime on us.
Okay, head start. Yeah.
So, you know.
But before you mentioned that you were a MP and that you you escorted a train and did a few other things.
Oh, we did. There was another guy and I would volunteer because we'd take like 19 carloads of whatever we were hauling down to the southern tip to Bangalore, India, which is down on southern tip. Then we'd fly back. Military would pick us up and fly us back.
Right. Cool.
Then the most interesting one I had, General Wiedemeyer was in charge of the theater at that time. And Secretary of War Patterson later was killed in a plane crash. But I was chosen to fly as his bodyguard while he was over there.
Really? Okay.
And so I flew on his B-17 that was converted to a staff plane. And then we held meetings all over India. And while they were holding their high-powered meeting, I could go out to the kitchen and eat, and they brought fresh food with them. So I ate pretty good while they were here.
Great.
Anyway, that was a what you call a cushy duty.
Yeah, it sounds
Although
like
it could have been serious, I guess, if somebody had attempted his life. Why?
Now, was that after the war too?
Yeah, that was after the war.
Now, but there was also a time where you had to be on a train and you guys were worried about people trying to get onto the train or something because you were taking supplies.
Well,
K rations.
we had like 19 cars. And we had to account for it when we loaded it. And we got to the other end, and we had to account for it there. And we were carrying cases of beer. We get this cheese and crackers with the K rations. And boy, beer went good with that. So we drink beer. We drank 2 cases of beer we weren't there yet. So what are we to do? Well, we open the case, take one can out and puncture it, and drink it and put it back in the case. We weren't stupid. And we'd get there and they'd count these cases. They were all accurate.
Now, you also mentioned that you and your partner had to have pistols because,
Well, you had the minute the train stopped, which was quite frequently, you had to jump out and watch up and down both sides because they were locked. The cars were locked.
right.
But those Indians were like a bunch of vultures. They just descend on the train, and if they could, they'd get in a car.
They were looking for whatever supplies the train was carrying then, right?
Huh?
They were looking for all the supplies that the train was carrying?
Yeah, of course.
Now, and then I think you had mentioned that you stopped at one place and they had all these K rations or something.
Oh yeah,
Was that-
and the guy wouldn't give us any. So we loaded him up, marched him out to our car, got him in there, all his K rations. After the train got going, we pushed him out.
Because he'd gotten those illegally or something, or?
I don't know how he got them, but they were ours.
Right.
Anyway, I think I told you back to the story about Mr. Sink.
Oh, yes, yes.
He owned the grain elevator.
Ah,
He had bought around Markesan. They grew all kinds of wheat at that time. And he had bought wheat from the farmers. And that would have been World War. I guess it had been World War II.
okay.
Anyway, the price of wheat skyrocketed. Mr. Sink sent a check to every farmer that had sold him wheat to share in this price increase.
Wow.
He didn't have any obligation,
Right,
but he did.
right. That's great.
And his name was like God around Markesan. Everybody had respect for him.
Oh, yeah, you don't hear that story much.
That road was named after him. That went past our farm.
Oh,
And he owned that farm.
Hmm.
And Mrs. Young was his daughter.
oh, I see. Okay, all right. So that's how it all ties in. Yeah.
And her husband ran off with Mrs. Young. Husband ran off with another woman. Then she remarried to a druggist. Then he died during the flu of 1918.
Oh, so then the first instance, the selling of the wheat would have happened in World War I then, right?
Huh?
The selling of the wheat would have happened in the First World War then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
And then her second husband, who was a druggist,
Right.
died during the flu of 1918.
Right.
So she had a tough life.
Mm-hmm.
She had 2 children. One was a dentist over here in Whitefish Bay.
Mm.
He's the one that made my bridge here.
Oh, really? Well,
And every time a dentist looks in my mouth, that bridge was put in 1948. It's still like new.
wow.
And every dentist that looks in my mouth says, "Who made that bridge?" Now, what's unique about it, I don't know, but
Oh, you never ask a dentist what the...
well, they say it's a good one. It's a good one.
Wow. Really skilled person put it together, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's pretty neat.
And he and his wife, I've been to their house in Whitefish Bay. She screams at him like a banshee. I always felt so sorry for him. He's such a nice guy. His wife was just a bitch. And I was there. She's really screaming at him, ignoring me completely. The telephone rings. God, you should hear her. Picks up the phone so sweetly, answers the phone, goes back to screaming at
Oh,
I
man.
I couldn't believe it. He sits there so meek,
Wow.
takes it all.
And so now, Whitefish Bay, where's that?
Well, that's the most exclusive suburb of Milwaukee,
Oh,
on the north edge of Milwaukee.
okay.
In fact, somebody was just here and said, oh, I guess it was Dave McRoberts telling me about one of our young guys that went to become a pastor, and he's being sent to Whitefish Bay. Because I said, get Mark Hadley to come here to Asbury. We'll hear the sucking sound. Because Harold's not cutting it, you know.
Right.
And we keep thinking they're gonna get rid of him, but they don't. And I still attribute that to the fact that people like Steve and Harold, they're big guys. They're overpowering. And I think the bishop's afraid of the pastor here.
Really?
He's afraid to say anything to it.
How weird.
But they're always running behind financially. And we never had that problem, but
Right. Yeah. Let me stop it here.